YouTube, so we're back, of course, talk about some FF7 Rebirth. It's cold as shit. We're bundled up. I live in an old house, don't have central heat and air, whatever. If you hear space heater in the background, we're going to have to get through that together. Anyways, a new trailer for Rebirth dropped today. It's actually called Destined for Rebirth. I only know that because I pulled it up on YouTube, because I initially seen that there was a new trailer on Twitter, but downloading a video from Twitter is absolute dick, so I didn't want to do that. The thumbnail is also Nibelheim Incident. And I will say, going on Twitter, getting these notifications about a new trailer, I did see the first couple of seconds or so of this. I think you see Cloud first, and then Sephiroth, and I see Sephiroth with the sword to the side, and somebody standing in front of him, or maybe down in front of him, I don't know. Could be, a lot of people, could be Zack, Cloud's mom, whatever. And they're in Nibelheim Incident, clearly. And then I've also seen a screenshot from this on Twitter of Hojo talking to somebody about them being like a model soldier, which kind of has to be Zack. It could maybe be Sephiroth in some flashback sort of sequence or something, I don't know, when he's really young. But Zack makes the most sense. It shouldn't be Cloud, because Cloud isn't a member of Soldier, right? And, Hojo says as much when it comes to the remake project. The show itself's about a minute long, I think, on the Japanese YouTube account. The trailer's 55 seconds, so there's some sort of difference there, maybe an ad or some shit. But also shout out to the people who tagged me on Twitter, let me know that there was a new trailer. Anyways, let's hop into it. And with all that out of the way, let's hop into it. Okay, so yeah, this is stuff I've kind of seen right here. Ooh, is that... Who the hell is that guy? Is that just some random dude? I don't know, it's Steve's dad's not fat. I don't know who that guy is. Some guy from the village? I don't know. Zangan? No, it's not him. Go away.
What happened to this place?
It was Sephiroth.
Oh. Ooh, there it is.
It can't be.
Hang on. Yeah, we gotta take it back a little bit, just because it was Sephiroth. Was that Elmira? Because I know there's the Zack talking to Elmira deniers out there. That's also a piece of Genova there, isn't it? Definitely, it gotta be. Is it Elmira? I don't know.
It was Sephiroth.
Maybe.
It can't
Zack talking to somebody.
He wants to finish what he started.
The march, of course, the inauguration.
You coming?
I am. I'm coming.
We have to help them.
Let's get to work.
You are truly a model soldier.
There's that line. Ooh. Tifa scream. Oh, the weapon. Oh my god, there's a lot.
We'll reclaim our world.
Alright, that's kind of cool. Obviously, it's a reaction video, so you're going to miss stuff the first time watching it. Watching back through it a few times now, there's definitely things to talk about. They do show a tornado actually ripping up Midgar, which goes back to that Summer Game Fest trailer, half a year or more ago at this point. We do see a lot of repeated stuff, some bottom swell gameplay and generic kind of combat. We see Rufus's inauguration, which we've already kind of seen, stuff like that. But there is things to discuss. The reason I bring that up is because we're going to hop into a trailer breakdown, since this is actually a pretty short trailer. So the trailer opens up, of course, with the Nibelheim Incident / Calm Flashback. I think specifically, for sure, it's the Calm Flashback, because we do see Cloud on the ground with the Buster Sword on his back, which, of course, he'd never actually owned during those events. Also, looking back at this old dude holding a rifle, he clearly has a badge on, so he's probably the sheriff of the town, which I think would be a new character, because as far as I can remember, of course, and I could be wrong, there's never a sheriff of Nibelheim. Also, this would mean he's about to get fucked up by Sephiroth. From here, we get to see some of the destruction of Midgar. We get some of that news footage we've seen in previous trailers, but then we actually get to see a tornado ripping shit up in Midgar. So the obvious first thing we got to mention here when it comes to this tornado stuff is that we get the digital glitch effect at the beginning and also at the end of the tornado stuff. So you got to kind of question the legitimacy of it, the whole Genova / Sephiroth messing with people sort of thing. Putting that aside, I do find it interesting that we're actually seeing a tornado now, just because there was questions of whether that actually happened with the initial Summer Game Fest trailer, because we had the news coverage of our group that passed out or dead or whatever, and then the news reporter saying that there's a tornado that swept through sectors 0, 1, and 2. People were wondering if that wasn't Shinra's propaganda trying to cover up for something, whatever. But now we're seeing an actual tornado. I guess you can question the legitimacy of it, if it's even really happening, I guess. But I think at this point I would say it is. I don't know what the digital glitch effects are exactly, because that could just be an effect they're doing on the trailer. It might not even be a part of the actual game itself, right? You just never know what's going on when it comes to trailers versus the actual game. And Square Enix, or I guess whoever put the trailer together, is adding those effects in that moment, and it's not something we'd actually see in the game. When we're seeing those Shinra troops driving down the highway, we're not going to see those digital effects, right? Maybe it's a meta thing where they want you to question it, which is a big part of the marketing for the game, as we know from Hamaguchi and the devs. They want you to kind of question what is real, what's happening, things are going to be different, whatever, right? The tornado stuff is actually legitimate. I don't know when and where that's happening. If it's happening, whether it's in Zack's, timeline, Zack's world, whatever, Zack's live stream journey, or if it's in Cloud and everybody's world, it's all brand new. We don't get the tornado shit happening at least in terms of the FF7 story until the end, right? With like the meteor coming down, that creates like red tornadoes that destroy shit. Like that shouldn't be happening yet. So unless it's related to meteor for some goddamn reason, it's completely brand new. So it's hard to know what it is and what exactly is happening. Is it something that's happening in the real world because of what's going on in the Singularity? Because obviously we go through the portal to Singularity, that tornado like sucks up our group and copies of things within, like, I guess the Singularity, whatever. So maybe like that Singularity tornado is like creating an actual tornado in the real world that's fucking shit up. I don't know. It's some crazy shit, dude. For this, we get the scene of like Zack taking Cloud to Midgar, which we've had for a long time now, since like summer 2022. I don't know if it's like an actual like new angle or shot. We see the White Feather again. We have Zack saying what happened to this place, and then a character saying it was Sephiroth. Now my reaction, I was like, is that Elmira? Is he talking to Elmira? But looking back at it, it's definitely not. It clearly looks like Tifa to me and sounds like Tifa.
What happened to this place?
It was Sephiroth.
We then get the scene of Sephiroth holding a piece of Genova, which is something I mentioned in my reaction. It's also a scene we've already had before from maybe Summer Game Fest trailer or one of those kind of earlier trailers. But I think then it was like wrapped up, so this is probably like a different like angle or different part of the scene, whatever. We then have a quick scene of Barrett looking at something and being surprised and saying it can't be, and I have a couple of thoughts on what this might be. My immediate reaction to that is something Gold Saucer related, because the area behind Barrett is very like pristine, kind of clean looking. There's lighting and stuff like that. It's not some like random whatever area they might be in throughout the story at some points. And him being surprised about seeing something in the Gold Saucer could be one or two things. The first thing I came up with was obviously Dyne. Like, he hadn't seen Dyne in a long time, thought Dyne was dead this whole time. It could be his reaction to either the massacre that Dyne goes on, or potentially like a wanted poster sort of thing, or because Dyne's obviously a wanted man, he's down there in the Corel prison. It could also be Jesse, which we know Jesse's a part of, I think, the VR stuff. We got that from one of the previous trailers and like the blog post that they did or whatever. So we know that Jesse's there at the Gold Saucer in some capacity. Is it a live Jesse, alternate timeline Jesse? Is it just a VR thing, recreating Jesse from her time working at Gold Saucer? Basically, Bear would have that reaction to both those people, right? If you see him dying for the first time, thought he was dead this whole time, and Jesse, who thinks is dead this whole time too. So I don't know. We didn't get to see more of President Rufus Shinra's inauguration. Cloud talking about Sephiroth wanting to finish what he started, to rule over the planet. And then we get a brief scene of Sephiroth with like Wall of Whispers behind him that might very well be Whirlwind Maze. Look, I've never been the biggest believer that we might go to like North Crater at all in this game, Northern Cave, whatever you want to call it. But I'd say it's potentially Whirlwind Maze just because that's the first thing I can think of when it comes to OGFF7, which I try to base all my like speculation on. I think Whirlwind Maze is the only place where you have like some sort of like moving kind of green wall, right? So that's just the first thing I thought of. Some people said that it could maybe be Forgotten Capital, and it definitely could be. It could be kind of anywhere. Like, we don't know what this is, right? It could be the Whispers and all that shit, and Sephiroth appearing a lot more throughout the story. It's all really brand new shit. So it could kind of be anywhere. I will say one of the takeaways we can get from this scene, though, is that Sephiroth is seemingly attacking somebody, because if you slow it down a lot, you can notice it a lot more than at full speed, but he like lunges forward at somebody. And if that is like Forgotten Capital, that's either him killing or attacking Aerith in a different way, or attacking somebody else, because I personally don't think if Aerith's going to die, right, they're going to do Hell's Gate. They're going to do the iconic coming down from the sky thing. There's literally a fucking name for it. It's an attack for Sephiroth, right? I don't think they would change that, but maybe they do, but he's clearly lunging at somebody. We then get the scene of Barrett saying, "Are you coming?" Which, again, to answer your question, Barrett, yes, I am. But in the background is clearly Ghost Hotel, or the Haunted Hotel from the original FF7 in Gold Saucer, which we've seen from one of the previous trailers.
Coming.
We then get some more of the bottom swell fight, which is kind of weird just because we have that like demo footage out there of the whole boss fight, so I don't know why they're showing more of it. We then get some really quick scenes of Tifa, Red 13, and Aerith, and in the background of like the Tifa Aerith scenes, you can see these like fiery red pillars. They're actually a part of the Midgar Zalman fight, which we get to see a little bit of right after those. And as I said, we get to see a bit of the Zalman fight. We see the fiery pillar in the background, and we see it actually spitting fire, which I think is kind of interesting that they might lean more into the Zalman being like a fire-themed enemy, because the attack beta that you can learn from it that's a really, really strong attack is actually fire damage. So with them leaning more into like the fire element when it comes to the Midgar Zalman, when we get to the swamp area right before we get to where the boss fight's going to be, just throw an elemental materia and a fire materia in your armor. We then get a scene of Hojo looking down at somebody saying, "You truly are a model soldier," and it cuts to a scene of Cloud fucking a bunch of Shinra soldiers, which we got to talk about real quick. So I've seen a bit of discussion on who Hojo is talking to here in this moment. And it's either Cloud or Zack, or I guess technically both, because they're both experimented on by Hojo in the Shinra Mansion for like 4 to 5 years or whatever. In theory, it'd be Zack, just because Zack was actually a member of Soldier. Obviously, Cloud never was able to obtain that role, even though he's really strong and powerful and he adapts to the S cells and all that other shit. He's never actually a member of Soldier. But it could also be like, you know, Hojo talking about Cloud. Like, you are a model soldier, you just couldn't make it into Soldier, or something along those lines, right? Something else we got to mention too is that whenever Cloud's fighting the Shinra troops in the background, we do see whispers, but we can also see some overgrowth. And if we hop back to that like PlayStation trailer we looked at not too long ago with like upcoming games, we had that really brief like 1/2 a second scene, whatever it was, where in the background you could see a whisper, but also you could see a little bit of overgrowth. So I think that scene and this scene are happening same time, same location. And my guess still would be Gingaga Reactor. And when we talked about this before, I've had people try to argue that it could be like somewhere else entirely, some other brand new location, some other reactor, some other destroyed, dilapidated building. And of course it could be that. But we're just kind of splitting hairs at that point because obviously it could just be some random location. We don't even know what it is. Some brand new location too. But obviously in a destroyed location with some overgrowth, it makes sense to be Gingaga Reactor. Plus we know based on the OG FF7 that the Turks are there. So it makes sense there'd be Shinra troops there. So I think it all adds up.
Truly a model soldier.
We then get a scene of Cloud losing his mind because Tifa's in danger, falling into some Maka, but we also get to see that new weapon enemy coming out of this location. So if it is Gingaga Reactor, that might be where we fight this thing. We're going to pause and talk there for a second because we've seen in a previous trailer, specifically the release date announced trailer, Tifa swimming around in what appears to be maybe Maka or something, and also seeing this new weapon enemy. And then we get this scene with this trailer, so that kind of confirms that she is probably going to fall in there before like somebody can save her. Some other things to take note of is that since we're seeing Tifa fall into like a vat of Mako, I think that would also kind of confirm this to be a reactor because obviously those are built on top of like very vibrant Mako sources. And also the background's like destroyed and overgrown and stuff like that, like the previous scenes we talked about. Also, I think this would kind of debunk like a sort of theory or speculation from that release date announced trailer where whenever Tifa's like in that Mako looking area seeing the weapon enemy, people were thinking it was something being shown to our group or like a vision or something being shown to us with like Bugenhagen or whatever the fuck. I don't remember exactly what people were saying. But obviously we're physically seeing this damn weapon enemy appear out of the Mako. So like I think that kind of debunks that. We then get a few more random scenes. We have this first scene with Aerith where I wasn't quite sure the setting. It's definitely like tropical. You see like the life preserver in the background. I wasn't sure if this was on the ship or in Casa del Sol, but actually looking back at one of the previous trailers, whenever we see Cloud walking on the ship, you can actually see the same blue like wave painting or whatever you want to call it, design on the deck. So she's definitely on the ship at this moment. We then get a quick scene of Barrett and Red 13 attacking something in this overgrown location that we talked about a few times in this video. Again, probably Gingaga Reactor. We then have Yuffie doing an attack in what appears to be Casa del Sol just because of the sand. I guess technically this could be on the ship somewhere too because we've seen similar trees on what appear to be the ship. They could have like a volleyball kind of area on the ship or something, whatever. But if it is Casa del Sol, this might confirm that we have a fight here at some point. We then get a pretty quick scene of Sephiroth in what appears to be the Mount Nibel reactor, so probably Nibelheim flashback. And he is saying, I will reclaim our world, so he's probably talking to Jenova or that effigy that's in front of Jenova. We then get a really cool shot of Cloud, Tifa, and Bear that I think is maybe on the cargo ship right before they fight Jenova, but it zooms in on Cloud's eyes and he closes them, opens them, and you see the pupils focus, which is really fucking cool. And then we get a very, very interesting scene right before the end of the trailer where we're seeing Sephiroth standing on some rock. There's some rocks floating in the background, and it's obviously very cosmic in the background. It gives me the Edge of Creation vibes, though we didn't have floating rocks, at least in the scene that we got. But it was also pointed out to me on Twitter by my boy Jay Jammer that Sephiroth actually has his wing in this moment. You don't see the wing like right here at the bottom left of the image. What does it mean? I don't know. Why does Sephiroth have the wing? Why are we at what looks to be Edge of Creation again? Who knows, man? Presumably that'd be something that happens like towards the end of Rebirth, but maybe we go back there earlier. I don't know. Also, there's a lot of implications here because if we are at the Edge of Creation again, that's a location that we're coming back to. There's a lot of possibilities there, especially with what Edge of Creation is. It seems to be a location in between universes, right? There was the universe behind Cloud, a universe of creation or universe that will be born, something along those lines, and then behind Sephiroth was like the universe of death or some shit like that. I don't remember the exact terms, but like we're in between universes presumably. And if we're coming back here, I mean, does this not the implication potentially of like some time travel shit that we can keep coming back to this location that's in between universes potentially? I don't know. This would be like a completely different location, but I just go with the information that we have, and the only like cosmic kind of rocky background that we have is Edge of Creation, so that's kind of what it has to be, at least in my opinion. And it's been theorized for like a long time that whenever Sephiroth says like 7 seconds to the end, time enough for you perhaps, what will we do with it? That's about Aerith, or like the Aerith's death scene or something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's ever been proven or whatever. But it's possible that we come back to this moment like during Aerith's death scene, right? We get to the end of the game, Forgotten Capital, Sephiroth either kills Aerith, about to kill Aerith, and then like Cloud's pulled into like Edge of Creation to have that conversation with Sephiroth again right here because it's a follow-up to the previous Edge of Creation scene. Maybe. Just a theory. Again. No, anyways. Pretty much it. The final shot of the trailer itself is like Cloud coming down on Sephiroth with like that different angle of like the singularity moment or whatever, the singularity scene. So there's really nothing else to talk about from the trailer itself. Pretty much it for the video, my dudes. There's some other stuff out there. There's like some key art and character art. I think on the Twitter account they said that there was like some new combat abilities revealed. Some cool stuff. Like there's like a recreation of like the Yuffie key art and the Kate Sith key art. But we'll look at all that tomorrow, right? We want to keep this video a little bit focused. If I missed anything else when it comes to this trailer in terms of the breakdown. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Section in the description below. Follow me on Twitter. SAYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought. but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.